one more time with these levels. Q, let's hear your rapper's delight.
Okay, I'm right here. How does it sound? I'm not picking up any echo or anything.
No, that sounded okay. There was a little interference there, but we're good.
Yeah, it sounded okay.
And then you. Okay. Okay, I guess we're good.
Cool.
So we're here. Q is joining us on the conference call. Nathan from Pizzeria Grata and myself, Austin All Day. We're all here for the second CoronaCast. We are also doing this on Instagram Live. Hopefully we get some folks chiming in with some questions they would like us to go over. Shite. Excuse me. Okay. So thank you guys for coming in. Let's check in with everybody. How are we doing?
Doing okay. Yeah, we're just we're getting through it. You know, it's been really cool to see all of the restaurant industry kind of banding together. You know, there's a lot of people that are scared, stressed out, you know, trying to find solutions, all that stuff. And of course, there's, you know, your fair share of people just kind of posting the negative stuff. But I think it's been really cool to see all of the different things that are happening. You know, there was just I don't know if it was a proposal or a bill, but some kind of like benefit package that was proposed for restaurant industry workers, you know, and just got to kind of move through it and adjust and pivot and adapt, you know?
Yes, definitely. We are hearing a little clicking there. Q, are you hearing that? No?
No, I'm not getting any clicking. Sounds pretty good.
Okay, everything sounds good. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
Just a second.
Go ahead.
Second, when Nate was talking about, I think you know, everybody's just kind of going through the motions. I think the biggest thing right now is it's a little bit just the unknown of, you know, what are we really looking at, and I think that, you know, the bigger effect on people right now is also just kind of the mental health side of it. It's just really stressful, but I think everybody understands. Being home, we're all together on this, you know.
Yeah. I mean, the challenging part for the mental health aspect is we're all used to running around kitchens, and, you know, in and out of places, the hustle and bustle, and now we're stagnant in a house or whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, for a lot of people, a loss of a feeling of purpose, sense of purpose, you know, especially for people in our industry. Like, our lives revolve around taking care of others, and when that gets, you know, kind of taken away from you for the time being, you know, you have to find ways to kind of fill that void for yourself. And it can be really, really difficult. It can be a huge challenge.
Absolutely. How are you guys dealing with that? Well, you are fortunate because most restaurants since the last cast got basically closed or restricted to dining only.
Well, takeout only, yeah.
Taking only, yeah. And you're out of the gas station, so you're still going strong.
Yeah.
Q, are you guys shut down completely?
Yeah, we are completely closed down. We are our sister company, Pink Avocado, is doing package meals, which is they already have it all set up for next week. And we started doing that at the coffee shop on Monday. But I think with just the office workers, everybody being home, it didn't make any sense for us in the long run to be open, considering that we're in the lobby of an office building. There was just nobody coming in. And unfortunately, you know, we had to lay off our staff, make that hard call. We had our GM was and head barista was working. Denise was there for a few days, you know, trying to hold down the fort, just trying to help anybody that would come by, you know, offer our, you know, services. But we made the call that, you know, it just long term is not a solution. I think probably not going to be the first restaurant or service industry group to do that. I could see, you know, already I saw this morning that Nickel City, who had been doing a great job of providing food and beverages to everybody since, you know, the beginning of the week, they said today that it's going to be their last day being open, even for the takeout. And I think for a lot of brick and mortars, unfortunately, that's probably what the realization that people are going to come to, is that it's just not sustainable for a long-term thing. I think, you know, food trucks and smaller places that don't have as much overhead are in a lucky position that they are a little bit more adept at staying open. So that's great. I'm happy for it. I encourage people, if you can, to support those businesses for as long as you can.
Q, when you were saying about Nickel City, what was it they were doing? Because you kind of cut out during that. What was it they were pretty good about taking care of?
Well, they were doing meals and they were doing alcohol. They had beer and wine and mixed drinks. As soon as they said the mixed drinks could be sold, and they started doing that, they were doing everything they could stay open and to have as much service as possible. And that's what I was talking about in that respect. Because it's really popular. Every day they were talking about how they were selling out. So
yeah, all around, everybody's there. Now we've got the Instagram up and working. Hi, Q. Did you just join us?
Hey, I did. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so maybe people who are now here because they were not before because we were using a device that apparently is ancient and does not work well. You can chime in with questions on Instagram Live or anything you want to go over or have us hash out. And good thing to talk about would be any solutions people have come up with for what? The mental health aspect by staying occupied, also getting some money. I mean,
yeah.
So we've got 125,000 workers in Austin completely out of a job right now, and everybody's at the same time simultaneously scrambling to go to what, UPS or Amazon. So
yeah, UPS, Amazon, I mean HEB, Home Depot, all the places that are selling things that people are looking for right now are hiring. I was talking to one of our regulars, a great guy who works at Guero's on South Congress. And he took a job as an overnight stalker at HEB because that's what's available right now. And I think we're going to see some interesting ripples here because, as we're going through this thing and these restaurants are closing and staff is having to find alternative means of bringing in money, the question I think that's going to come up as we go through this is how many of those people are going to return to the industry? Are we going to have, this massive bubble of restaurants that have opened up all over the world that suddenly, when this thing clears up, can't hire their staff back because they've found other jobs that are more secure.
Sure.
And then you're going to have everyone's coming out to restaurants. Everyone's trying to support the places they weren't able to during this time. And then those restaurants are going to get overwhelmed. So, this has those crazy long-term effects that, we're just going to have to navigate as we go through it because it really is unprecedented for us to be dealing with something like this.
Yeah, and we honestly have no idea how long this is going to last. What's up, Lewis? Lewis is supposed to be here, and Chef Reese, how you doing? Now we can read it, so we can actually talk to these folks. But yeah, the long term effect of this, and where do you think people would go for work? A lot of these guys only know the kitchen life.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a lot of retail services. I think trade schools are going to see another huge boom coming out of this, because all of these, so-called blue-collar jobs that had been looked down on by, what we consider the norm in society are now essentials. I mean, the state of New York just mandated, I think it's starting Sunday, that there's going to be a complete shutdown, and unless you're an essential part of the workforce in the state, you're to stay home. So, the HVAC guys are going to be out there, firefighters, ambulances, police, all of that kind of stuff.
Can I get your take on and you and Q about, what they did? And I don't know if it was all of California or just like San Francisco where they ordered the, stay at home.
It's all of California now.
So it's all of California. What do you guys think? Should we do that here?
I mean, my opinion on that is I think that, we need to take drastic measures sooner rather than later. And I know that that's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of the people that are still just trying to make it economically.
Yeah.
But I think you're looking at it from a long-term perspective. You really want to do what you can to mitigate it.
Definitely.
Now, and so that we don't have a catastrophe, something that's, deadly for a lot of people. I think, it's gonna affect us economically at this point. I don't know that there's any way to avoid that. I think we all need to come to terms with that. If you've been in the business, if you were in the business during 9/11 or, after the 2008 financial crisis. I was running around in restaurants at that time, and it was really, really hard, the hits that we took. But there's a way to come back from this. Obviously, government, federal government help, bailouts, and those kinds of things play a big role. But I think that we want to get over the actual disease part of it as quickly as possible.
I think that's
for sure.
Most important. It's really, this is something none of us are used to, is to kind of nobody's dealt with a pandemic. So it's not easy to look at the fact that we have to wipe out the disease first before we're out working for Amazon or whatever is next.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hopefully people are, can find some work. And because I think that the Amazon jobs, the Costco and H-E-B and all those are actually critical. I mean, I think that, people need to make sure we have an opportunity to go out and buy what we need and take care of ourselves. That would be, so I think that that's worthwhile. And I mean, I agree that we might see some job loss, people, bleeding out of the service industry after this comes back. But we'll see what happens. I think there's going to be the potential for high unemployment. So hopefully, service industry will have people come into it, and, because it always has been a place where people can work their way up. They can start at the bottom and work their way up in it.
Yeah, absolutely, right. Absolutely. And I mean, I think Jason's scrolling through the In the Weeds Facebook group right now. For those of you who don't know, In the Weeds is a really, really cool resource for people, specifically in Austin and in a couple of other cities. Now it's growing for service industry folks to just kind of communicate and have a safe place for themselves. And it's been really cool seeing over the last couple of days. I think people are starting to kind of, move away from the negativity and, just posting, whatever kind of fear-based article is popping up, and starting to move into things like, we're looking at a guy who's, doing a roll call for gamer tags, on video games to just be able to communicate and play with people in the industry. And there's a lot of like yoga live streaming happening and things like that. So I think people are starting to kind of band together a little bit more, which is really, really cool to see.
If we get just a little personal about it, what are you guys specifically doing? I'll start. I've been just making sure to at least exercise because I know that combats this, we're home all day, right? Yeah. So take care of some stuff around the home. I know that list would end quickly, but I'm making sure currently that I'm got the home cleaned up and just trying to keep myself occupied like that. But making sure to exercise, I think that's super important. What about you, Q? What are you up to? I know you and your lady were out the other day at a park or something.
Yeah. We've been spending a lot of time with the dogs. Getting outside, while not going around anywhere there's a bunch of people, but, walking the dogs, getting some exercise for ourselves, getting some fresh air, getting out of the house, I think is important, I think, for that mental health. It's crazy to think that, it's the middle of the spring here in Austin. It's beautiful outside. I mean, if you go look, the plants are all blooming. There's bees everywhere. It's actually really nice to be outside, but it's just that we have this kind of thing hanging over us. But regardless, aside from that, we've been doing workouts here at the house, making food, cleaning up for sure. We cleaned out our whole kitchen yesterday, reorganized the pantry, which was a huge to-do that we'd had for years. And it's kind of, catching up on all those things that we hadn't had a chance to do. I know for myself, in my office, I'm going to organize a little bit more, work on some my computer stuff. But then what you're saying too, just, play some video games, reach out to some friends, in any way that we can online, since we can't be hanging out together. Working on this podcast also. Talking.
I didn't mention music. I've been writing music like a crazy person.
That's awesome. Yeah, I need to pick up my guitar again. It's been so long.
This will be the time to do it, man. Yeah. And then it also just feels good because a lot of times you can remember it's about connecting and just being happy and enjoying some music. And
it's funny, man, for me, when I pick up the guitar, because every once in a while my wife will just be like, well, if you're looking for something to do, just play guitar. You never play anymore. So I'm like, okay. And I pick it up and the muscle memory is kind of there, but my calluses are gone. And so I'll get 3 songs in and try to play something a little ambitious and my hands just don't want to work and I get frustrated. So yeah, now's the time for sure to kind of pick that back up. But I mean, for me, Pizzeria Grata's still open.
That's the jam, kids. Go eat it. For the time being.
Yeah, and we're assessing it on a day to day, and right now it's just myself and two of my business partners running it. So we're there Wednesday to Sunday, and that's keeping me busy. But it's definitely seen a decline in business. There's still people coming out, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that the folks in our industry are taken care of there, and so we're going to be there for as long as we possibly can be, and we're just having to take this whole situation day by day.
I'm so happy you're still open, and not to mention you brought over some pies, and they're just to die for. So good pizza.
Got to keep everyone fed, man.
Yes, absolutely. And then just to turn the wheel a little bit from the fun stuff we're doing, is anybody trying to actually get work? I mean, you're still doing this. Q, I know. What's your approach to this? Because I'll start by saying I went on to file unemployment, and I know this is a pretty common subject. I mean, it can't handle what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, there's too many people trying to file, and every time you do it, it just ends up crashing. So, or not even allowing you to load the site.
Yeah.
So, what are you doing?
I think for me, I'm as a restaurant consultant, I don't think that a lot of places have or are in a position right now to spend money on discretionary items. So I don't know that there's going to be a lot of business for me to reach out. I am willing to, and I've reached out to a few people and just let them know that, hey, if there's anything I can do to help, I will do it pro bono. At this point, I'm okay in terms of our financial situation. My wife's still got checks coming in, and I have a little bit of savings, so we're okay for the time being. It just as the longer it drags out, the actual being shut down part of it, the more it puts somebody like me at risk. But I do have confidence that when it comes back, there's going to be some opportunities there. And if worst case scenario drags out, I mean, I'll go to Costco and apply. I'll do what I got to do. I got other skills besides just the restaurant industry, so I'm willing to do whatever it takes to work hard and for what we've built up.
Yeah, and it's not easy for me to say, but the idea of going out and working even at Costco or somewhere, even though it's an option, like the best thing you can possibly do is just stay home.
Yeah,
that's it. And like we've never had to do this. I keep saying that, but it's such a weird time. But
yeah,
that's what's happening. That's the solution right now.
Yeah, and I think it's been there's a couple of sides to it, right? Because you've got a lot of states, and I think the federal government is working on it to some level of, saying like, hey, like a lot of people are out of work. Don't worry about this month as far as I think it was the city of Austin announced that they weren't going to be shutting off utilities for anyone who couldn't pay. And I know that there's a lot of, lenders who have said, don't worry about your mortgage. We'll figure it out. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. So I think we're kind of moving in that direction where, this is one of those things where it hits everyone. We're all in it together. So just like we're struggling to make money, well, so is every other business, and it's just going to take time to navigate. Like I mentioned to you, Jason, my dad works for a company that makes movie cameras and lighting, and all of Hollywood's shut down, so their company's not bringing in any money either. And so it's just this crazy thing that, we have no choice but to figure it out together as a group, and I think we have an opportunity to have some really healthy things come out of that.
Yes. If one thing after this, we're all going to have a totally different perspective.
I hope so. Yeah.
You realize how fragile things are. Q, I got to ask you this. You're watching this on Instagram Live, or you have it open, right?
I do.
Okay. Can you hear any clipping? Because we're getting something coming through on your end in the audio. Can you hear anything?
No, I have mine. Well, I have it turned all the way down.
Okay.
So there's.
Oh, you can't hear it. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. I'll have to figure out how to get that out of there. No worries. Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. But I mean, it's stuff like this too. I mean, Philip Spear, is still doing his service industry yoga and the Commodore Run Club on Instagram Live, which is amazing. It's, people are still finding ways to kind of remain a part of their community.
So
I think that's really cool.
I would encourage people to get to this Commodore run. I can never go. I was always working. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. It's nothing to be intimidated by. It's all walks of life.
Yeah.
KC went recently.
I know, I saw that.
Yeah, and I've been trying to meet him, and now, well, I'll have time to do it. And Thursdays, they do the 10 a.m. yoga, but this would be the coolest way for everybody just to kind of unite and, number one, stay healthy and active, but like all see everybody, because that's what we're all craving right now. I know it hit me like a bag of bricks when I was just sitting home alone, and I see everybody saying that, and it's not easy to watch these guys who are just so active just have to press the brakes. And but there's so many people I know who are out of work.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. I mean, everyone's dealing with it to some level, for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna figure it out. But let's see.
Q. And I'm gonna re-go over a couple of these things real quick. So the places we found were children, or I'm sorry, we thank KC for this. He sent these along. We mentioned them in the last podcast. CORE, Children of Restaurant Employees, where you can actually, you get in there and you apply and ask for assistance, right? There's another one called the Emergency Relief Fund. Oh, Southern Smoke.
Southern Smoke. Yeah, that's Chris Shepard's foundation, I believe.
Yeah, and I want to say it's out of Houston, but I don't think it matters where you're at. So Southern Smoke, and then BEAP, which is Bartenders Emergency Assistance Program. Just like get online. Actually, all the links to these will be in the description of this podcast. And then, so those are what we found. And then obviously file for unemployment. But if filing for unemployment is anything like the rest of these sites right now, because everybody is trying to do it, you might have a tough time, which is also frustrating. So, but we're all doing this. I mean, I've tried to file for unemployment a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still working with my my employer, but like I'm not out at work at all right now. I'm just waiting for the dust to settle till we get back out and about.
Yeah. Can I add one more group? It was the U.S. Bartenders Guild, USBG. Is also a big resource for industry. I believe they act just bartenders, but it also is. It's just basically overall for a restaurant, which I think is good to make sure people know about.
Okay.
The other thing I've been obviously, for people who are already living check to check and are already super tight on funds. Be careful with what you're doing, where you're spending your money. I don't want to tell people to not go out or not to give some kind of business to local businesses, but at the same time, maybe now's not a good time to go buy a new pair of shoes or something else that you might need money for.
Q, it's totally okay to say that. You're right. But there is a ton of people in Austin who are going to continue to generate income, who are able to work from home. They should definitely go support those people. But folks who are living hand to mouth, yes, you got to pump the brakes and maybe slow down the beer purchases or whatever your niche is.
Not that we judge.
No, but and on that point, I've seen Eric Silverstein, also Peach Tortilla. They're doing like a kind of family meal where you can go pick up a casserole and they'll deliver it within a 3-mile radius. So, talk about ingenuity. There's Eric. Boom, let's just do this.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if you're not within 3 miles of Peach Tortilla, you could just say, deliver it here and I'll meet you over there. You know?
Or, with Favor, Favor, you basically, I'm not sure, I've never used it, but it sounds like you basically just send a text message. And so you can send them to multiple places. So I'm sure Favor would be able to pick it up for you as well.
Yeah. No, I've definitely used Favor. It's an arm and a leg. So it costs money.
Yeah.
It's definitely a luxury, but if you need things, if you're able to spend money on food and support these local businesses, Eric is doing it.
Yeah, I love that, by the way.
Which one?
Somebody shared a video on YouTube that you can go to listen to the sound of a Micros kitchen printer, just in case you're missing work a little bit.
Should we play that?
It's nightmarish.
Yeah, I don't know how loud this is, but... Oh, yeah. And then we're running 30 devices at once here, so...
Wi-Fi's a little bad.
Yeah. What's up, Mateo? How you doing? All right, there you
go. If know which restaurants are serving or are available for takeout,
Oh,
There it is. Take it on.
I don't know if that's going to translate over the. Sorry, Q. We cut you off there. Having fun here.
Yeah, you're takeouttracker.com is posting all the restaurants that are open. If you want to get some food for pickup, just so everybody knows about that. And then there's also another group, the Toast guys, Toast POS. John Morrow post. They have the rallyforrestaurants.com.
Okay.
And just talking about, it's like a way for people to come together to make donations. So yeah, some other places are just websites to take a look at while you're sitting at home, and especially for those people that that do have income coming in and can help out any way that they can.
What in the world? Yeah, no, and I'll try and link those things in the description of the podcast. Somebody I want to holler at is Eric from Restaurant Unstoppable, who just took the bull by the horns. And so if you're curious about how business owners and chefs, not only in Austin, are handling the coronavirus, he started releasing basically the Corona Chronicles, where he releases basically a phone call, which we're attempting to do with Q, but we are having some definite difficulties with this glitching thing, which I'll cut out. But he's having like 15, 20-minute conversations with just a handful of business owners and chefs, just to hear their perspective, solutions, and it's great. I think he's pumping out like 3 or 4 of those every single day. So
amazing.
Restaurant Unstoppable, go check that out, especially if you just can't get enough of the Austin All Day podcast and you need another one. Yeah. Go there. Get those podcast needs taken care of.
Yep.
What was that rally of the restaurants? What was it?
It's called Rally. I want to say rallyforrestaurants.com. Just all one word. It's campaign charity through Toast, pay it forward. It's for purchasing gift cards for restaurants.
Okay.
Use later. And then also just a shout out to Toast. They are suspending their monthly fees for their clients. So if you're on Toast, you don't have to do anything. They're just gonna basically waive their fees for this month. We'll see if that's a long-term solution or not. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's kind of one of the cool things you see is just people kind of pulling together. And I mean, any hippie's known that money is not everything. And now we kind of get to experience that. It is about us, and it's about our health and our survival as a species, as crazy as that is to say. But, this is the end of time for some elderly folks out there. And I've just heard that this talk of younger folks not being at risk is actually not true.
Yeah.
Yeah, younger folks can be at risk. And, I mean, kids, children. Yeah. I have a 6-year-old, so definitely trying to take all the proper precautions, which are, what do we know? Wash your hands, stay away from people, unless they're bringing pizza to do a podcast.
No, and I washed my hands, I promise. But yeah, it's one of those things. Like this is so new that there's more information every day coming out that is true, and there's 10 times more of it that's coming out that's false. And we have to also kind of be very careful about how we sift through that. So one of the biggest things for me was over the last few days, I've just been, and if you're my friend and I've been done this to you, I love you, but it's just not good for me. But I've pretty much unfollowed anyone who's been spreading any kind of like fear-based media or misinformation because I deal with a lot of stress and anxiety, and kind of going to social media tends to help me with that. So, seeing all of this negativity takes, a pretty big impact for me personally. So, one of the things that has been a huge help for me is just focusing on people who are spreading the good news, no matter how small. So, here, like I pulled up this post, for example, it's a Instagram page called Lit Up Soul. So it's just a list of like, things that are good news, and, whether it's true or not, I don't know. I haven't confirmed every single one of these points, but I think it's important to, to kind of put some of this stuff in your mind as well. So, A 103-year-old Chinese grandmother has made a full recovery from COVID-19 after being treated for 6 days in Wuhan. Apple has reopened all 42 of their stores in China.
That's great news.
Yeah, scientists in Israel are likely to announce the development of a coronavirus vaccine. A network of Canadian scientists are making excellent progress in COVID research. A San Diego biotech company is developing a COVID-19 vaccine in collaboration with Duke and the National University of Singapore. In South Korea, the number of new cases is sharply declining. So not to say that this isn't something we should still be worried about, because we absolutely have to take precautions, but I think it's just as, if not more important, to focus on the good news when we're, kind of going through this stuff.
Absolutely. Because I mean, I don't know if I've already said this. I've told people already though. But when they closed the restaurants to the dining only, I feel like I did say this. But like just watching the responses on social media from all the guys in the service industry, whether it was front of the house or back of the house, like it's very hard to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's catastrophic for us and not everybody else. Like some people are just confined to staying home, but like this is like straight up for the service industry, just probably the worst thing that could ever happen.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah. And, I was talking to my parents about it. Well, my mom really, my dad was working, but I was talking to my mom about it, and kind of explaining to her the situation for our industry. And it's just a lot of things that people haven't thought about. Like fortunately my dad, is able to go to his office, grab his computers and come home and work. But, a server can't serve food and earn tips from their living room. And that's just the reality of it. And yeah, it's tricky. But, I think it's also, we're really fortunate that there's so many organizations out there who are putting together relief packages. It's been pretty cool to see that. I don't know if all of these have been around forever, but they've certainly kind of come out of the woodwork over the last week or so.
100%. All this signs of people kind of coming together. The fact that there is some work being done on the medical side of it, and that there is some recovery going on in those countries that were initially hit the hardest, are super positive. And I think that that's something we can all, kind of keep in the back of our minds when we're reading the scary stuff or the news, but that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is a way that, we can, when we come together and we're smart about the decisions that we make, we're going to be okay. I think also, the experiences we had as a country over the last, call it 100 years, we've come a long way from something like this really, just completely collapsing society, right? I mean, we made it through the Great Depression, the giant world wars, and out of that came, the understanding that some kind of social safety net that's provided by is something that's critical, and especially in times like this when there's things that are beyond everybody's control. This is nobody's fault, so we're just all having to deal with the repercussions. I think that the government response has been pretty good and pretty much on point. Definitely, I think we need to make sure that the service industry, though, I think again, particularly is going to be hit harder than most other industries. So that we, again, lobby your representatives and senators and governors and everybody, let them know that, hey, don't forget about the service industry just because we're not this like, just because there's not just like 4 or 5 big companies, there's actually 50,000 companies that represent the service industry. We're still a critical part of this economy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And not to, I don't know how this will come across, but all the complaining I've ever heard about the president for the last however long, it seems like, and I still hear it, but it just seems like. I don't know. It's such a luxury to complain about it when, now we're faced with something like this. Wouldn't you rather just be bitching about that right now at work?
Yeah, well, it's the perspective that you mentioned. It's like we took for granted the fact that we could open up our cell phone and open an article and, throw blame around and hide behind a keyboard or a screen. And, more than anything else, I really hope that from this we kind of are able to shift the way that we live, within society, because at the end of the day, this is an opportunity for us to shift our perspectives, to, allow more people to work from home more effectively, to be able to spend more time with your families. We live in a world that's become really, materialistic and status and finance driven.
100%. Like, it's how eye-opening is this?
Yeah.
You see it right in front of your face.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all it is right now. Continue.
No, so it's just, it's an opportunity, I think, for people to take a look at, what's been happening the last 2 weeks with, if you have children or you have your dogs or whatever, and being able to spend more time with your significant others, even though it's in isolation, has been kind of a breath of fresh air. Like, even for myself and my wife, I'm still working, but, my wife has had most of her clients cancel, unfortunately. And, it's something that we're navigating, but, getting to take the time in the mornings to like bake with her or just sit down and have breakfast together. It's, those are the things that I've realized are invaluable.
Right. Absolutely. Chef Zoller, how you doing? Are they closed down over there? I don't know. Chime in if you can, Chef. What'd you say, Q?
Oh, I was just saying, it's actually, I've actually, really enjoyed being home. I'm not gonna lie. It's been nice to get the house cleaned up. It's been nice to spend time with my wife and binge watch, Netflix and spend time with the dogs and exercise and really kind of do the things that, I didn't feel like I always had time for or wasn't able to make a priority. I feel, even though there's this there's a lot of stress and anxiety, I think we should all look back on that and maybe appreciate that we get to spend a little bit more time with the people that are important to us.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the only thing that's keeping people from feeling that kind of relief is the momentum of, cooking or being in the front of the house and just like moving and going and you get off and you're exhausted and you wake up and you do it again. Actually, I think that's how your podcast started, Q.
Yeah.
But it's true. And but if you can take a step back, get a little bit of clarity and be like, all right, this is happening. But like that momentum thing, it's like, you gotta wind yourself down and maybe meditate, whatever it is you gotta do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for me, for my wife and I both, it was, I don't know, we've been dealing with some stuff that is a little bit out there. But, we basically, we worked through a couple of things and, we had one night where we just slept for, I don't know, it was probably like 12 hours. It was more sleep than either of us had gotten in ages. And we woke up and it was like, okay, like this is what we're dealing with. We're rested, we're relaxed, like let's move forward and, just figure out how to fill the time and, find those opportunities for quality time, like you said.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just being outside and outdoors.
Yeah.
I mean, half the time you're in a kitchen, you don't know if it's day, night, rain, whatever. Now just go look.
Yeah.
See what it's doing in this city. Not to mention we've had some unusual days recently where it's been like dark and gloomy, and I'm like, very fitting for the time weather.
Yeah. But like you said earlier too, like the wildflowers are insane right now.
Here you go. Take some bluebonnet photos.
Yeah.
Folks.
Yeah. I mean, my wife and I live just off of like the Southwest Parkway area in Oak Hill. And I mean, the cars are just absolutely overflowing the parking lots for the Greenbelt. People are out there hiking and doing whatever. And no, it's really cool. It's given people an opportunity to kind of pause, put the other things on hold and, get out there.
Right. Definitely. So we've mentioned we're kind of scrolling through in the weeds. I was trying to find the places where people who was open and who had closed. I guess that would have changed to who is doing the delivery or just pickup. Mm-hmm. Because I know there was a handful of places that actually just closed. We mentioned like El Bruto, like before anything came in, he closed shop. Because he saw the severity of it, mind you. He was telling me how serious this was, and he didn't think people were taking it seriously. But like Culinary Dropout just closed,
Oh, really?
Yeah, same with, I think, North. That's not 100%, but I know CDO just completely closed their doors. And,
interesting.
I guess if businesses are comfortable enough and they have the funds, which they definitely would, you might say that. And maybe you could still take care of your people. But my one concern is that all these awesome local spots that we have here that are like small businesses, basically. When we do this closure thing, no matter how the government helps, it may just not be in the cards to just open back up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm absolutely in that boat with the pizzeria, look, we are a pizzeria inside of a gas station and we have 5 seats, and, fortunately for us, our overhead is extremely low. And that's one of the reasons that we opened the way we did. But, we're having to take this day by day, and, my one hourly employee, is basically on like a vacation right now. And if this goes any farther than the next few days, we're going to have to formally let him off and let him go and try to collect unemployment for now.
It's pretty
so
funny.
this is just a meme that Jason found, but there are probably a bunch of people wandering aimlessly around saying corner and herd. I'm probably one of them.
Yeah. I've definitely been in the back of or in a grocery store behind. Yeah, there's like somebody back. So it's like, what?
Yeah, you inevitably say it to someone though who's like in the industry, and you get a herd.
Yeah. There you go. No, and now everybody, like if you're going to see him, you're probably going to see him at HEB. And I don't know, it's good lingo. It works. So give it a go.
Yeah, and this is really cool too. I mean, there's a lot of people that are saying that they're giving pretty heavy discounts for service and service industry employees.
Hell yeah, you're amongst them, right?
Yeah, so
50%.
Yeah, so the pizzeria right now we're doing 50% off for service industry, and we're working. We basically have for the people who don't know, we have a pay it forward program. So essentially, what you're able to do when you come in and place your order for a pizza, you can add however many pay it forwards you want, and essentially it just goes into an account in our system where we navigate or we communicate with the church across the street. There's Sunrise Church and some other shelters in the area, and do pizza drop-offs for people who need some food. So we did our first drop-off
before this all happened, right?
Yeah, right before it happened at Sunrise. We did a
good job.
Thank you.
Yeah,
we fed 20 or 30 kids in the after-school program there, and the community's really kind of come around it. So we've got about 100 pizzas still in our account so far. So we're planning on doing another big one with the church for the homeless and displaced that attend the Sunday services there. And we're also trying to figure out a way to make it happen for the service industry, just to make sure that the people who have lost their jobs and are having trouble getting their hands on a hot meal are fed and taken care of as well. Because sometimes we just need that kind of pick me up.
Yeah, and that they might not need anything today, but I mean, we're on a 6 weeks out.
That's the estimate. Yeah, I mean, I think Mayor Adler was the first person to jump onto this May 1st thing, and that I think sent a lot of other people into a little bit of a tizzy. But that's kind of been the estimate, and I think now that California is on a essential workers only shutdown, and New York is now only a couple of days behind. I think we're starting to look at that as being a more realistic date.
If this is how I think, because I don't know what to do every day. I wake up, yes, I want to be active. I want to do these essential things to make sure I'm healthy. But you feel like a fish out of water when you're not working. And I wish they would just step in and say, oh, what is it? Shelter in place?
Shelter in place, I think is the...
Put in a shelter in place. And I know it's not convenient for anybody.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying it's a good thing, but at least we'd have... okay, let's start from, we can't leave the house.
Yeah.
Until things are figured out. Like, we'd have some kind of guideline.
Yeah. We're purpose driven, so sometimes it helps just to be told what to do.
100%. Just let's go there, because we're all trying to figure out what to do. And
yeah.
I mean, we'd be doing a lot more of these podcasts, like this. But I have heard this. So the shelter in place, you can still go out for exercise if you want to go run. You can still go to the grocery store. If you have a doctor's appointment, you can still go to the doctor's appointment. And I think it's like the bare essentials you'd be going out for. Like maybe if it's to get a family member.
Yeah.
Or whatever the case is.
And I think that's absolutely fair. I mean, look, maybe take a day off from... going to Zilker Park, take some time. Like it's okay. We're, it's going to come back.
It's going to come back as long as we do it right. Like I'm in the belief we're at home. We got the internet. If there was ever a time to get stuck at home.
Oh, dude, this is the time.
Right. 2020. It could be 1980 and you could be watching like Star Wars VHS, the VHS gets messed up and you got to rewind it.
Oh man.
You got Netflix. Yes. Stranger Things just came out. that Hunters on Prime
Oh,
Video.
Hunters is great. Yeah, I just watched.
Just binge watch some shit.
Yeah, I've been going down the rabbit hole. I told you before we started recording. I've gotten really into bourbon.
Yeah.
Because there's a Facebook group that I'm a part of, and it's basically all about bourbon and whiskey and barbecue. And then there's actually a documentary on Hulu right now called Neat, and I could not recommend it highly enough. It is
cool.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So there's all those bartenders. You should post that up on In the Weeds.
Yeah.
Yeah, but be careful drinking at home with cabin fever, going through bottles of bourbon. You might turn into Jack Nicholson at the end of it.
Hey, man, you don't even need to buy an Uber when you're home.
You don't,
just
right?
stumble from one room to the next.
To your bedroom, right?
Yeah, you're good.
As long as I can make it from the couch to the bedroom, we'll be okay. But alcohol can definitely lead to some kind of depression, especially if you can't leave the house. So
yeah, I mean, look,
be responsible.
Be responsible. If you know that you shouldn't be drinking, don't drink. That's
definitely. But like this is all uncharted territories for anybody who's like, hey, it's a good time to like get into some bourbon, and then they realize they're kind of depressed because they're home alone. Like I could just see them sitting there crying in their beer, like, fuck that Nathan Pearlman.
Oh, God damn it. Yeah.
Now I have to put explicit on the thing. Darn it. All right. All right. Well, it happened. Yeah, but In the Weeds is in the weeds, basically. Literally. I can't find any of the kind of things I was looking for worth kind of touching on. Q, you got anything?
I'm not seeing anything particular.
Or
just stuff. Yeah. Again, I think it's a good time. Yeah, like you're saying, watch some videos, maybe learn, pick up I know there's some online classes for different things. I didn't put together a list or anything, but there's definitely classes you could take online.
Read a book.
Videos. Yeah, read an actual book.
So that's BOOK. These are full of paper words in the middle. They come in hard or softback.
Wait, paper? Do you mean toilet paper?
Yeah, no, you could definitely. They could become multi-purpose, right?
Yeah.
You finish your book on the toilet. You don't even, read a book. Why not? Go through some cookbooks. Create some recipes.
Learn a new skill.
Who's doing the? Well, we hope you're doing good. That's Progress and Provisions, who would eventually come on the podcast after the dust settles here. I think he's in Corpus Christi. I don't know. But referring to the Instagram Live here with our massive audience watching.
Yeah. And this is another crazy one. So on the note of the restaurants that were in the process of opening, and then all of this happened, a really good friend of mine was, I believe he's the GM of a bar that was soon to be opened near the Domain. And they literally last night was supposed to be their friends and family, and tonight was supposed to be their grand opening.
Oh man!
And so he got really fortunate where he just kind of had a feeling, and they already have all of their wine and beer and liquor in, but he didn't purchase any of the real perishables that go along with the bars, like garnishes and all of that kind of stuff.
Good.
But he had to basically call all of his employees and say, hey, sorry. I know we haven't even started working yet, but we got to let you go.
Yeah, man. In doing this podcast, I've watched a number like Nixta or Reunion 19 or hell, you. I mean, you're still going, but I mean, just watching these guys be so excited about opening up. I mean, like Christopher with Reunion 19, it is his like legitimate dream. It's everybody's dream, but the story behind that, it's 4 guys got back together in 2019. They open up that, and his whole thing is just taco lover, #taco lover.
Yeah.
It's like, what's not to love? And then just to watch him, and not just to be the downer, but like just to watch him say everybody, he's sending everybody's home or take pictures of his dining room when he's been so enthusiastic. Mm-hmm. It's just, it's heartbreaking. I mean, last week I was having a conversation with somebody at Royal Fig.
Yeah.
And we were talking about conspiracies for the coronavirus. And I was like, all right, let me have it. Shoot. Okay, let me hear him. He's telling me. I'm like, and I scheduled to come back a week later on Wednesday because everybody had gone home. And I called him yesterday. And I was like, man, who would have known a week later that they would look like this out here?
Yeah.
Like we had no idea. We did not see this coming.
No.
I know I didn't.
No, and I mean, I think our reaction as a country has been slower than a lot of others. You know, we definitely didn't preempt any of this, but you know, it has been. I guess it's not a great thing for our industry, but I think it's been really good to see that it's being taken more seriously now.
Yeah.
But it's been cool. Also, there's just so many restaurants that are still opening, doing takeout and all of that stuff, and as long as it remains viable for them to do that, I cannot stress to people enough that they go out and support these places, because as much as you loved them before all of this happened, they're still there, and if you want them to be there afterwards, it's so important that they get some infusion of money, because most restaurants are hand to mouth, and a week or two or a month and a half even of being shut down can be wildly detrimental.
Right.
So
yeah, it's crazy times, right? Crazy times calls for the CoronaCast. I mean, again, we're going to continue to put these out as frequently as we can. I mean, the Instagram live thing, what time of day is it? We didn't get a lot of people on here. We got definitely more people on last time. But we'll try and do these more frequently. I'll just come out and say it. I already told Q, I kind of told you that we had these scheduled the day after the first one, and I just didn't know how I was going to actually react to the fact when they closed up the dining, and then I watched everybody. It kind of hit me kind of harder than I was expecting. So
yeah,
but I'm okay now. We can talk about it, and let's do it, and we can do it more frequently. Q is on the phone, which we can do, but we gotta figure this out, because this is not a good sound. I know you can't hear it. You will hear it though eventually.
I'm curious to see what it sounds like on the podcast, but
I'm going to try and edit it out. But I think it's important to know that we love you guys, and we're all doing this together.
Yeah, we're all in it together. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, cool. We can even try and do one of these tomorrow. I know Eric from Restaurant Unstoppable, we were talking about doing a little takeover cast and swapping them out, so you guys can look forward to that. But I don't like answering questions. I'll give it to you guys. We'll see how this goes. But seriously, we'll keep them coming, and thank you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Q. It was nice to meet you, man.
all right, absolutely. You too, Nathan. Take care.
All right, bye.
All right, be good.